Welcome back to Peanut Garage. Today we're going to install the intercooler for the budget twin turbo kit. Do us a favour, hit that subscribe button. Nearly at the 1000 at the time of filming this. We're at 950. So I'm going to have something a little bit special, like I did for the 500. We're going to strap a massive monster China turbo to the Ecotech. I'm going to try and send the rods out of it, but that's only going to happen if we hit that 1000. So please hit that subscribe, like, comment and share. Stay tuned. Alright, so we've had some goodies come in, so the radiators come in. So I've been mock fitting this up just to get a bit of an idea of where I can run stuff and where I can't. So what I'm actually thinking about doing is dropping this down and forward. So what I did on my VY when I first built it was I cut these parts out here, both sides, and dropped the radiator down, which worked really well in the VY. So we're probably going to do that again on this build. All underneath this thing is completely trash, so I'm not overly concerned of keeping it street legal or streetable. And with two turbos out the bonnet, because that's where they're staying, it's not going to be that big of a deal. So it's just going to be a toy, as I explained in the last one. So I'm going to pull that turbo, try and fit this radiator shroud properly, and we're going to start cutting. And I'll come back to you after I've mounted the radiator. Alright, so if you do get a cheap eBay radiator from Worley, you will run into this problem. These brackets are not flush, they are crooked, they are shit. Yeah. So I've got it on there, not impressed. Look, then again, $280 for radiator, fans and heat and hoses. You get what you pay for at the end of the day, everyone knows that, but yeah, it's not the best quality. So I've cut a relief hole in this now. It's just dodgy for the moment, but it's a nice big hole, so I can work out where the rubber oscillators will sit. We'll chuck it in and mark them, and we'll drill some holes, and we'll keep on keeping on. So we've got a bit of a clearance issue. This is where I want the turbo for the intercooler piping, so I'm not going to change it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop this filler neck off and get an expansion tank and do a little neck off through here and run up a bit of radiator hose up to here to an expansion tank, which will also be good because it'll be above the engine and be able to bleed it a lot easier than trying to take a turbo off and fill this. And yeah, you get the picture. So going to mount that other turbo up now, check clearances for this part here, which should be fine. Eventually I'll pull all this apart, fix that up. But yeah, it's in there pretty good because it's jammed up to that. But we'll make, like I did with my VY, that point there and that point there, we'll run a strap over, put a nut-sert in, bob's your uncle, finish your aunt. It will be secure, and then we'll put some rubber feet underneath it as well. If you didn't see, I did chop some more, so I had the clearance for the bottom outlet to run up to that one. So it's because I've moved it forward and down, the radiator hose doesn't quite work, so we'll order a joiner like I used in the Patrol and do that. So, and with this being moved, this is actually straightening this out quite a bit, so I may even cut there and push it down more so it's like that, so it's straight, which will give me heaps more room to come up into the throttle body. So yeah, like I said, we'll mount that up and then we'll drop this down a bit and we'll start looking at mounting the intercooler. And we'll also pull the washer bottles out and we'll start drilling and cutting holes in there. And we'll start running some pipe. Happy days. Intercooler is mounted. Hopefully it fits under the bar that I've got. Probably get that down before I go much further to make sure, because that would really suck. Yeah, so obviously you're gonna have to drill it through there. We'll just smash a 4-inch hole in there, and then obviously already got this bit here, so I'm going to cut that out, and we're going to do this side first because this side is exactly where I want it. I'm actually thinking about cutting the header. I'm going to pull the header out anyway for the wastegates to make them, so it's no big deal. We'll just cut 40, I think it's 38 or 40 mil off, and then it'll be symmetrical, and then I'll be able to keep that there. Yeah, we'll see. Haven't made my mind up yet. I'm really dreading cutting that header because I've got to get it straight. If I don't, it's fucked. If not, it's just going to look like, well, it's not fucked, but it will look like crap. So, but yeah, I'll focus on this side first because it'll make me feel good, and then the intake as well, which will probably end up chopping half of that away, but we'll be able to come straight out. Yeah, hopefully. I got some old intercooler pipe from the VY. Hopefully we can make that work. Relatively simple, but yeah, if not, I'll come up with something. The kit, eBay kit. So you get 2 of these, 2 90s, 2 180s for some reason, and some straights. Bunch of straight couplers and 2 9-degree couplers, and a bunch of hose clamps. T-bar clamps, which is good. That's a win. So, I did say that I was going to hole saw, but I used plasma instead because I couldn't find one arbor out of the 3 that I own, which is getting rather annoying. So yeah, so we'll start playing Lego and see what we can come up with. I'll put you on a tripod and so you got a better view. Alright, so what we can see here is me trying to make these 45-degree bits work. Unfortunately, after cutting it all up, it was just not going to give me the right angle into the top 90-degree silicon bend. So you'll see I end up going away from this idea and just going to straight in 90s. Okie dokie, this side is done. Very budget orientated. I'm trying not to weld on purpose. A, because this stuff is probably going to smoke really bad, and B, it's more budget orientated type of build. So we cut 180s in half and use them as 90s. The only thing that I will be out of budget friendly stuff is bead rolling, so I will go back through and bead roll everything because I don't want things to pop off. Yeah, bead rollers aren't that expensive, like cheap ones. I've got a Raceworks one, so there's a bit of a difference there. But yeah, anyway, we're gonna start playing with the intake part. I have already started on this side. Actually no, we'll probably do this side first, so it looks complete for the turbos. And yeah, as you can see, it's just a whole heap of cutting and measuring and guessing and cut a little bit off, cut a little bit off, cut a little bit off until you're happy. Don't cut too much off or you'll be fine. So we also did relieve the inner well a little bit more, and yeah, didn't need to be that much, but anyway, it is what it is. If you can see that there, but we'll clean that up with the die grinder, flat disc drill thingy later, and we'll probably have to do the same over this side to relieve that, to follow the same kind of deal. So yeah. Also, I use a timber drop saw for cutting aluminium. Goes through a lot better, but if you do get one where you can have multiple clamps on it, this one doesn't. I have had a couple buck back at me and scared the shit out of me. But yeah, be careful. Alright, second side went a lot quicker. I had an idea of what I needed to do. Did relieve it a bit, as you can see there. Also, I ran out of couplers, and I had a couple of Raceworks couplers lying about. I have run out of clamps though, so just keep that in mind if you want more than a couple of joins. Really, I would have liked to have welded it there and there, and there, weld it there, and there, both sides, but yeah, anyway, explained that already. Budget. So we're going to move on to the 3-inch for the intake. So I was hoping I had a bit of scrap lying around from the VY when I first built it, first rendition, hoping I could use it. Doesn't look like I'm going to be able to, which is a shame, unless I start chopping some stuff up, which might be on the cards. I just got to have a bit of a play with it and see what's going on, and hopefully I've got a couple of, I think it's like 3.5 inch down to 3 inch, might have one, I may not. I think I might have a 4 inch down to 3 inch, I'm not sure, I've got to have a look. But yeah, also it's probably going to be a Raceworks one, not budget, but anyway, it is what it is. I do have a stainless steel bell to go down to 3 inch. If I can't get enough tight radius, I'm going to use that. I'm going to chop it and make some pie cuts out of stainless, at least to about here and just around there. And then weld an IAT bung into it, which will get that bit sorted. But yeah. After we've done that, we'll go into making the up pipes. So basically we're going to come in 1/2 meter or 300, probably 300. 1/2 meter is probably going to put us back here, and then we're just going to go straight up out the bonnet, and then O2 out the side, both sides, and then wastegates. Luckily there still keeps a room here. Wastegate's going to sit about here. So we bought some cheap eBay ones, same deal. It'll come up and turn out up through the bonnet. Anyway, that's enough jibber jabber. We shall move on.
2 weeks later.
Alright, so we've got some parts to come in. A nice 90 there. I'm going to have to cut up wherever I put that from. No, this one. I'm going to have to cut this up and bend it just a little bit more. Probably going to cut that bit off there, make it look a bit nicer. And then I'm just going to notch the centre just to bring it back a little bit, to make it work. Yeah. I'll play with it and I'll get back to you.
So after looking into all my stuff lying around, I thought I had an extra bit of 3-inch alley. Turns out I didn't. So I started with the idea of finishing the up pipes and then moving into just making the out of the intercooler into the engine out of 3-inch stainless. So that's what you'll be seeing here next.
I finished welding these up. Some of it's not great. I am still learning how to TIG weld. It's mostly when I use filler it starts sugaring real bad. I'm not sure what that's about. I need to Google some stuff and see how I can fix that. Like that one's pretty bad in particular. But my fusion stuff is getting much better, where I'm not using much filler. Starting to get some nice colour through it, getting rid of that sugary look. Starting to, but yeah, it's a lot better than what I've done in the past, so that's a win to me. Practice, I guess. Going to cut 100mm lengths, and we'll do the rest of it, and I will put the O2 bungs in and weld the flanges on. So yeah, I won't film any of that. Don't need to pick up bad tips from me for welding, so I'll get stuck into it and we'll go from there. Alright. Maybe I'm not as bad as I thought. Maybe it's just butt welds I can't do. It actually looks pretty damn decent. It's funny, I can do a fillet weld Better than I can do a butt weld in both stainless and alley, which is weird. It's very weird. Can anyone explain that for me? Because I got no idea. But yeah, so that's one. Obviously I'm not back purging, so there will be sugaring inside. It is an exhaust, so no chance of contamination with that. Plus I don't like spending money on gas, so it is what it is. I'll do the second one and lock everything up. Just wanted to show you guys that because I can't believe I did that. Anyway, we'll move on. So I've done a bit more. The exhaust is all welded up, welded the O2 sensors on, made some other bits and pieces and just bumming around the day. I've got all day to finish this intercooler kit, and then tomorrow we're getting back onto the control. But yeah, the only thing I've got left is wastegates and intercooler pipe. I've actually changed my mind with the intercooler pipe. I'm actually going to make it out of stainless. I thought I had a full length of alley 3" here. I don't, it was 2". So I've got left over from doing this, so I'll use stainless steel. So I have made a couple more pie cuts. This one is actually going to be a larger sweeping and then the other ones. So the way I do it, I go 20mm from the cut surface, while from a set point on my drop saw. This one I've gone 25, so it'll give me a bit more of a radius. So I'm going to do, I've cut these at 25mm. I've also cut set at 20 because I'm going to need 2 bends. So the long radius is going to go inside the car, short radius is going to go on the outside of the car into the intercooler, and yeah, basically it'll work like that. I'm going to tack it all together first, make sure the concept's going to work, and I'll show you guys that, and then I'll weld it out. So I'll be back. Alright, so I think I'm starting to get the hang of this TIG welding stuff. Probably not the best, but goddamn, I'm doing alright compared to what I used to do. I actually found that there was a setting on the welder that was set to a 1mm electrode when I was using 2.4s, so that's probably a big part of it. So happy days. We'll let that cool off, and I'll start cleaning up the other pie cuts. We'll weld them together, and yeah, I have miscalculated this a little bit. 5 of them has got to me about 85 degrees. I don't know where I fucked that up, but they're meant to be 15 degrees. I think they're more like 17. Yeah, anyway, I should be using a proper protractor digital one when I set my stuff, but yeah, anyway, live and learn. It's actually pretty good. It's actually really nice in there, considering it's not back purged. So yeah, happy days. Alright, so this is what I was talking about, the measurements. So that's a 25mm from my mark, and that's a 20mm. You see the radius difference. So yeah, just thought I'd point that out. So you just increase your pie cut length to get your radius or decrease. I really wouldn't go much less than this one, just because you're not going to have much meat to weld. Obviously I have stuffed up the angles, so yeah, not my, yeah, my fault, but oh, it's pretty damn close. It's like 85 degrees that it's coming out to, so it's not overly too bad. I'm not really upset about that. I can make it work. Anyway, we'll move on. Alright, it's the next day. Unfortunately, I didn't get this finished last night, but it's coming out pretty good. Most of it's welded up. Punched the rest out this morning, and then move on to the wastegates. I've already made the steamer pipes for them, which are going to go straight up out the bonnet. And then we've got to remove the turbos, remove the headers, and make a little hole there, and weld them on. Not too much more work to go. Yeah, should be fairly straightforward. And that's wrapped up for this week. And then on the next episode, we'll be doing all the little stuff. I'll show you all the little stuff that I have done. Already started filming some of it. Joys of ADHD, bouncing in between everything. It's hard to stay on track. Well, it is for me anyway. Yeah, we'll move on and we'll get her done. Bit of an update. That one is all welded up. Some good, some bad, some ugly, but it's there. I started pulling the intercooler kit off to get the turbo off, to get the manifold out. So we're getting there. I have started, also cut and started welding the wastegate pipes. So we're just coming out of shorty on a, I think it's about 25 to 30 degree angle, and then the screamer go straight up out the bonnet. I'll get that header off and turbo off, and we'll mark her up, drill a hole, and start welding this bugger up. Alright, so the wastegates are mounted, screamers are welded, got heaps of practice on the TIG, which is good, which will get me ready for that little thing. I want that thing to look mint, so yeah, try and get as much practice as possible. But that's it for this episode. That is a budget intercooler setup. 140 bucks for the 2.5 inch. I think about 200 bucks for the intercooler. Stainless was 150 bucks. Yeah, pretty cheap. Did get an extra set of clamps, 20 bucks each for 8 each, which is pretty good value. That was from Wally off eBay, which is also the brand of the Radiator. So yeah, they do have some good deals. That's it for this episode. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Be good or be good at it. We'll see you next time on Peanut Garage. Take it easy.